My name's Elizabeth Aloe, and I do the Friday Night Flashback Show, which is alternative 80s and early 90s, every Friday night from 7 to 9 p.m. on KCPR. I am a Cal Poly journalism major alumni now. I graduated in 1993. I moved away after graduation and did everything from being a nanny to living in San Francisco for 10 years, where I was part of the dot-com boom. Had a great time, worked for CNET for a few years. Then once the tech boom crashed, I kind of kicked myself out of San Francisco because I couldn't keep a job. Went on a road trip around the country. Ended up in Minneapolis, Minnesota for 6 years, where I was in software sales and also more internet. Then I got a little homesick and hated the winters, so I decided to move back to California, where I went into pharmaceutical sales for about 4 years. And it had always been on my bucket list to move back to San Luis Obispo. I've always enjoyed KCPR. It was part of my college experience, and it had always left such a great feeling with me that I figured if I'm living here and the need arose for the kind of music that I played back in, say, late 80s, early 90s, that if I could get a slot, I would do it, and I was able to. So music that came out of that era are a lot of bands that have withstood the time, say, for example, U2, R.E.M., Beck, Green Day. Those bands are still putting out hits nowadays, so people are still finding the music interesting. And I just believe that, along with a lot of the other indie bands, it was just, I think, the era where people finally started catching on to college radio, saying, hey, college radio is great. There's a lot of these bands that we never get to hear on the radio in general, and people really started to tune in and started to pay attention.
Liz is one of our older DJs. She was in college in the 90s and then stopped doing KCPR when she graduated, and then actually came back I think 2 years ago now, basically in the last couple years, and she started doing a show again. KCPR has an open door policy. It's kind of a once a DJ, always a DJ. So if we ever have alumni who are back in town or decide they have time for a show again, as long as there's open airtime, they're welcome. So we just kind of teach them the ropes again if there's anything new and let them go. So Liz got a show again, and now she has a Friday show. It's called Friday Night Flashbacks. I like the freedom that we have as DJs. Being a DJ at KCPR is not anything like a commercial radio station, in that you can play everything from like the weirdest noise rock to the cutest, most adorable pop song from the early 80s to like weird bass-dominated techno music. Like, you can play anything, and that's my favorite part. It's an eclectic place here at KCPR.
I think it's just because certain people just have like certain genres, especially like when you find a lot more of the like old soul kind of people, and even people that are just older in general, they just go with what they're comfortable with and what they're familiar with, because on the show you have to, really be comfortable with your music.
The station, just like Cal Poly, will always be a part of me. And as long as I'm here and I don't burn out on playing music, I'll continue to keep my show and do it. And as long as the want is there, I mean, I get people calling and I have loyal listeners, so as long as they continue to listen, I'll play music for them.